Hey, silly goosies. Welcome to But Seriously, the podcast where we dive into life's pivotal moments and how they shape who we are. I'm Taylor, and each week I'll be sitting down with guests from all walks of life to explore how different challenges and traumas can become stepping stones into one's own authenticity. This is not a how-to on healing, rather an open, heartfelt, and even sometimes hilarious conversation amongst friends. We'll laugh, maybe shed a tear, and remind ourselves that life just is not that serious. So lighten up, let go, and settle in as you join us for stories that are as funny as they are inspiring. This is But Seriously. Let's get started. Well, Elle, I'm so excited to have you here. This is so exciting. You are basically my first official guest.
I'm honored.
I'm so excited. And the main reason I was excited to have you here, obviously you saved my skin when I moved to San Diego. I was here for 3 years before I found somebody that actually knew what the fuck they were doing and helped me out. And then I've been following you around now for another 3 years, 2 years.
I've made you follow me.
No, I wanted to. So, meeting you, where would we first meet? It was at the Skin on the Ranch.
Yeah, in Rancho Santa Fe.
And then went to a salon in La Jolla.
Yeah.
And then you started your own brand, The Look. So that's the main reason I'm really excited to talk to you is I know you have launched your own business. You know, you talking about the inside out healing first, working with your gut, working with your stress levels, your hormone levels, and then working towards your skincare routine. I just think that's such a better way to go about healing your skin inward and outward versus what a lot of other brands and companies try to sell you on. So I thought it would be really awesome to just have you kind of start by telling me about that journey, how you got inspired to do this holistic approach and what the kit and caboodle is of The Look.
I'll tell you everything. Well, first of all, I'm excited because we've been talking about this for a couple months.
So long.
I've been watching you build your brand and kind of go for it. So it's cool that we're living in it now.
I know, I got to watch you do yours too.
Yeah.
It's and we had the same coach. Shout out to Katie.
Yeah.
It's just wild that we both kind of were doing the same path. And it formed a friendship along the way too.
Yeah. I think it's cool that when I work with people over time that have stuck with me, I have guests that get married and are getting pregnant and I see their life unfold. And I'm oh, that's actually really cool. Creating relationships totally. In business. But yeah, as you mentioned, I went to esthetician school 4 years ago, kind of right when the pandemic was cooling down a little bit. And I started in a nice luxury spa in Rancho Santa Fe. And I learned a lot there. I was there for 2 years, but I was the only girl with acne. And I feel all of us were what are we supposed to do with Elle's skin? And so it really sparked me to start learning outside of where I was working and get more experience there, which then I worked in 2 places in La Jolla. I worked at European Wax for a quick minute. And then after seeing so many coochies, I was actually, I'm never coming back ever again.
I always forget that you waxed.
I was there for a month and I gave them the worst possible. I was my dad's blind. I cannot come back ever again, which wasn't a lie, but it was just unrelated information of why I wasn't going to come back to work ever again.
I mean, spending all day inside a puss would be a lot. And I'm sure not everybody was super hygienic or had pussy maintenance on the forefront of their mind.
I was I'm straight suddenly. I hate vaginas now.
Ew, yeah, no, that takes a special breed. I don't think I can handle the hair removal aspect of it.
Yeah, I just got my first Brazilian, because it's totally off topic already. I just got my first Brazilian a couple days ago, and I was sweating all over the table.
It's the worst.
Yeah, and she's it's okay. I'm okay. She's see you next time. I'm there won't be a next time, babe.
I get sugared monthly. I do love getting sugared. My girl Rebecca is incredible. She knows me inside out, obviously.
Yeah. You get your vajacials.
Yeah, my bag will. Yeah, because I will say though, I am so susceptible to ingrowns.
Yeah,
and I hate the dark spots. I'm I need Elle to do my vagina.
Yeah. It needs extra love. No, seriously.
Oh my gosh, so funny. But anywho, yeah. So you went to esthetician school. That is a word I can never say or spell.
I don't know how to spell it. I'll always be voice memoing. I'm esthetician, and then it does it with the A in front of it.
It's entrepreneur. Yeah, these words and it's just those are just tongue twisters. So
yeah.
the pandemic is kind of like what started your journey. You're like, I want to do something hands-on, which is kind of a crazy time to be like, I want to touch people.
Yeah. Well, I got my bachelor's in psychology at Chico State, which I didn't learn anything other than I love drugs, drinking, and frat boys. And then I was working at Ulta. Like, I love doing makeup and that aspect of it. And so I kind of was just like, I guess if I want to be a makeup artist or whatever, I'll go to esthetician school. And then, I just kept having acne problems. This was what led me to today. Like, I did spironolactone. I did the topicals from dermatologists that I found online that was kind of ghetto. I didn't have any money to like actually go to dermatologists, and my skin was burnt off. I felt like I just kept hitting walls with myself. Like, selfishly, my business is built from like my own journey of just trying to figure out like my acne. Yeah. Well, my acne. And then I started realizing I have the best treatments. I've tried all the products. Why is it not clearing? And so I started learning more about internal health and the gut and hormones and detoxifying, just stuff I had no idea about. Like, mind you, when I had acne, I was eating nachos every day and like soda, never drinking water, never working out. I was so overworked and stressed. And so now, like, the forefront of my business is just to kind of help women learn about what their body needs. Like, not doing anything crazy, just the basics of eating whole foods, moving your body, managing stress, drinking water, which sounds so simple, but no one really does it. Like, it's common sense that's not common anymore because Instagram has played a huge part in making things complicated. Like my morning routine, and it's like an $800 LED light and morning shed and going out for a walk, and it's like 12 o'clock and I just finished my morning routine. I'm like, okay. Realistically, I don't think most people have the luxury of that. Like, wellness can be luxury, but I also think it's the human standard of health. So after working just a million freaking jobs, I just kind of was pushing and just needed to go for it on my own. And my business is like constantly evolving, but I just started to rent a room and do facials and started doing more online work and growing my Instagram. And so that's where I'm at today. Like I said, just kind of figuring it all out based off of like what I'm experiencing. Like, now it's way more internal because I've been doing internal like lab testing and working with practitioners that are above me. So it kind of just continues to evolve with where I'm at in life. And then I just bring it to my business and relay it to my guests.
I mean, you said it's selfish. I don't think it's selfish. I think that's the smartest way to do business, right? Like, stick with what you know and you evolve it from there. And I think what you said about accessibility is just so important. Like, not everybody has the luxury to get up in the morning and do this 100-step routine and take care of yourself.
Right.
And I also like too, like you mentioned a lot, like you were on topicals, you were trying steroids, like all these things. Like, when you say healing from the inside out, like, why does it start with the gut health? Why does it start with what you're putting in your body? Like, how does that impact like your topical layer of your skin?
Well, because the skin is an organ, right? So I tend to always forget that we don't treat it as an organ. We almost treat it as more of a cosmetic type of thing, with like Botox, fillers, lasers, skincare. It's more of a, what's it called? Like image thing rather than a health thing. I realized the more that I've been trying to learn my quote unquote root cause, which I think is a whole other pressure that estheticians or practitioners push, that like the gut, the liver, your gallbladder, all these systems in our body work together. So even if you did a gut protocol, say maybe you're lacking minerals or you're lacking some nutrients that, okay, you did a gut cleanse, but the gut still plays in with the liver and the lymphatic system and your hormones, because there's more hormones than just your sex hormones, which I think is another thing that's like just progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. It's like, there's more. Your sleep, it requires everything you do requires hormones, which require minerals and nutrients and vitamins and fats and all these things. So that's kind of why I pulled out a little bit too, where I was like trying to hyper focus on healing the gut and healing one specific function. But really, if you look at it, they all work together, which is kind of why you want to treat it as a whole body approach first by getting in your daily habits that are just basics and then kind of niching out. Like, if you have candida, you're going to want to do a candida protocol to kill the fungus or keep the gut bacteria happy. But I've noticed that they all trickle down together. And especially when I see on Instagram, like, do this one supplement or this and that, it's like, you can't actually look at someone and say they need this one supplement and it's going to cure them. Like, the body works. I think of it as a car. You have your tires, your alignment, your whatever else is in a car. I have no idea beyond that. But
Your radiator.
Yeah. The oil they tell me I always need to replace. So it's like, yeah, like imagine if you keep changing your tires, but your alignment is off. That's why your tires keep running out, but you're changing your tires instead of your alignment. Does that make sense? But that's how it all operates together. And that's why I'm saying my business is always changing, because I'll hyperfixate on one thing and realize, why is this gut protocol not working? It's like, well, it's probably not just your gut that you need to look at.
That was a beautiful analogy. I am just so impressed by you.
I thought about it one time when I got my tires changed, and he was like, they're all fucked up because your alignment. I'm like, I don't know what that means. Look at me. I'm just a girl.
It's just like my pimples.
Yeah. I know.
Organs.
I'm like, stop. I can't handle my tires. I have acne. I can only handle one battle at a time.
That works in so many levels, though. I feel like that analogy and that method of like trying to heal yourself works beyond just like your looks, your skincare, like that. Like if you're not taking care of what you're fueling your body with, what you're moving your body with, like how can you expect anything else to like fall into place?
Yeah. Well, so I have my pillars that I talk about with my guests, which is like I touched on before, like drinking water, whole foods, moving your body, managing stress, pooping daily. For me, I'll do everything perfectly, right? Like the way I eat, I'm pooping it every day, but my stress is so unmanaged that all the other things, it's like, whatever.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And so when people are like, I'm just stressed, but like, why is the gut protocol not working? I'm like, well, it's not working because your body is in a state of survival and it's stressed, so it's not adapting to the gut protocol.
Then how the hell do we make all these operating systems work at once? Because it feels like in this day and age, that's almost inaccessible as well.
Yeah, that's currently what my newest take now is like nervous system regulation. My skin was like the clearest probably when I was literally on drugs, because my nervous system was muted. And so that's my personal quote unquote root cause is stress, because I feel like I'm driving myself insane. You know, I'm eating healthy. Why is it not working? And I'm stressing myself out by putting so much pressure on needing to be healthy for clear skin. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to be healthy for the sake of, because I love myself. Like, I just want to be healthy for my acne. And that's a pretty like dangerous mindset to be. Yeah. Because then it's constantly like, a reward and punishment type of outlook on life, if that makes sense.
No, that does.
If I eat this burrito, is it going to give me acne? I don't want the burrito. Fuck it. I'm just going to binge on the burrito because I just want the good feeling. And it's just kind of this like mind fuck, which maybe might be intense for the average person. I remember I posted something on Instagram and they're like, this is pretty excessive, but okay, you do you. I'm like, oh, it must be nice not having to do excessive things.
Yeah.
So like,
no, but it's actually, I feel like that's probably something that's more common for women than anything too, right? Like we have the pressures of what we want to look like, or even if it's like right nowadays, everybody's all about like not body shaming and come as you are.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't mean like I can look in the mirror sometimes and have absolute fucking meltdowns. And then I'm like, I need to go on a diet, or I'm going to go on an extra run today. Yeah. And it's like that mindset is actually putting us at more harm, even though we're doing the healthy things, because we're not focused on what the core issue is. And it's living sustainable lifestyle and living a long time and longevity and movement and
being like healthy for your friends and your family and be able to like
having a great
go
life.
To the beach just because you can, because you have a healthy body. It's like people look at like the beach, I need to wear sunscreen and the seawater is going to break me out. And I'm like, can we just appreciate that
you're at the ocean?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a huge victim isn't, I guess, the best word, but like I fall into that so deeply where
a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And the guilt that we get associated with
that is terrible. It's like, or even like you said, like looking in the mirror where it's like body positivity. I love my body. Like you're trying to like gaslight yourself in an angerly way.
You know, all the time.
Yeah. And your body's like, bitch, I know you're not
believing it. You're being really mean to me right now.
Yeah. It's like this constant like all or nothing type of thing for me, but I also see it a lot in my business where I'm like, oh, other bitches are kind of a little kooky too.
We all are. Yeah. I mean, especially the millennials, I feel like what we grew up with, it's like we're literally deprogramming ourselves to not be focused on our appearance, to not be focused on what our outward, you know, what people see in us. You know what I mean? It's not something that's going to change overnight. But I think like what you said, like if we're focused on that, if we're aware that we're doing those things, and then we can begin with like what we're putting into our body, trying to eat the whole foods, eating things that are organic, grass-fed, grass-finished, and then kind of following into that routine, then it'll like slowly start to deprogram you. So I guess you've been doing this for a couple of years now. What would you like, when you started focusing on, you know, the macros, what you were putting into your body, movement, and how you were like self-regulating your nervous system, what did you notice right away, like, are the biggest changes? Like maybe energy levels, your skin, your weight, your mental health? Like, did it all kind of like improve, or did you have those ups and downs?
You know what's crazy is I keep saying that I'm the healthiest I've ever been on paper, but I feel the sickest ever. Like my fatigue, my brain fog, like my ADHD is like raging, my acne and just bloating in general. Because like I said, I'm in this toxic state of must be healthy, where my body is so stressed because now I'm convincing myself like a burrito isn't safe, this cookie isn't safe. And so your body doesn't really know the difference between you're getting chased by a bear or the fucking cookie you think it's going to break you out. And so I actually just got some lab testing done where it said that my thyroid's not working optimally, my metabolism, I'm lacking nutrients. And I'm just like, how? Eat so, I'm literally perfect. But what they were saying when they were reading the scan is like your body utilizes certain minerals, for example, like my body is blowing through certain nutrients and minerals to keep up with this state of stress. And so my body doesn't adapt to stress well. And I've always been like this. Like my dad, when I was growing up, he'd always call me a worry wart. But your body just simply cannot run in this state. And so, I always tell people I'm the healthiest I've been, but I feel the worst because I'm not actually the healthiest because my mental health is way behind everything else. Like, okay, I ate grass-fed, grass-finished meat, beef, and my brain's like, that's cute. Like, run.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, we're in a high stress mode. That's really interesting.
Like,
you think that if you have all the pieces of the puzzle ready to go, it would happen. But if you're not setting yourself up for success mentally, it's just kind of like out the window.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm driving myself insane too because I'll read books, I'll listen to podcasts, I'll do all these things, and all of them are universally the same with what I'm doing. Like bitches will be like, balance your hormones with this meal. And I'm like, I'm already eating that meal and my hormones aren't balanced because your body is utilizing certain hormones in response to stress. So I would probably feel a lot worse if I didn't have the baseline that I do with nutrients. Like if I was eating like shit, I'd probably feel a lot worse. But I do kind of notice the ups and downs with my symptoms in particular when I'm not catering to like my brain, which is like the first and foremost thing that I think people should focus on because that's really what's running your body.
Yeah, you're triggering, like your brain literally triggers those responses. Amino acids to engage with the protein, all the things.
Exactly. Yeah. The brain's kind of like the head honcho that's telling them how to work. But if the brain's stressed and the brain thinks there's a gun to it, it's like, all right, forget about pooping, what's next?
I mean, it sounds like too, like social media has played a big part in this misconception around gut health and hormonal health. I mean, obviously you're trying to break that mold by putting out posts and content that make this more accessible and make this more adaptable and more
realistic.
Yeah. Do you think that there is a trend that's going to be heading more in that direction? Or do you think most of like TikTok and Instagram is just polluted with absolute bullshit right now?
I kind of hope. I try and stay consistent with, hey, and I don't want to be negative. Does that make sense? I don't want to be like, hey, your favorite influencer that gets Botox every week and lasers and says the one skincare and supplement is why she's perfect. Like,
she's just trying to sell
that bullshit. Yeah. But I don't want to like talk down to other people. So it's a weird in-between line between how can I be kind and gentle without yucking other people's yum. And also in a way that's not shaming other people for what they think they believed or not. Like, I'm not the one that's the end all be all. Like, I'm not God, I don't know. But I tell people more it's a place if I want you to think with your own brain, not rely on your influencer, not rely on your doctor or whatever. And it's not to say to not listen to them, but not put all your eggs in their basket. Like I met with a naturopathic doctor and what she told me to do. I was like so frustrated because I was like, that's not good enough and blah, 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 blah. And it's like this own expectation that I have of other people to fix me when it lies within ourselves.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like, everything can also be related to, I feel like, a relationship. Like if you're relying on your doctor, your esthetician, or an influencer to make you healthier, make you happier, just like if you rely on your partner to make you happy, like you're never going to truly be happy.
Exactly.
You're never truly going to heal, or you're never truly going to have perfect fucking skin and a cinched waist and a healthy gut if you're not checking yourself first.
I think that the mindset is also like an energetic thing. Like, you can't do this, just my opinion. I don't think you can do one thing and not fully believe it and expect the outcome. Like for me, I'm doing something like I'm so healthy, but I don't believe it. Like, I know true in my heart, it's my beliefs or trauma or whatever bullshit, you want to call it, that I am very reliant on other people's opinions, or I want other people to fix me because it's a lack of trust in myself, which my new therapist told me. She's like, when did you get so far off from trusting yourself? And
wow, what a question.
Right? And I was like, I don't know. Circle back. Yeah. And it's true. Like, now I ask my guests that when I'm like, you're very heavily reliant on me, which I understand because I'm the professional in the skincare compared to you, right? But there is a point where I can tell you to do all these things and use the skincare. And if it's not clearing your skin,
you're doing something.
Yeah, it doesn't make me bad at my job, which I have a hard time dealing with. But it's also, everyone is so different. I don't know exactly what you need. Like, even for me, I still have acne and I'm still on a journey. Now I'm focusing more on like the mental aspect, but just because I'm an esthetician or have esthetician friends doesn't mean that equals clear skin.
Yeah. Well, I think that's awesome too. Like, you're so right. It's managing your client's expectations, but managing your own. Like, you can't, you're going to send yourself in a spiral if you can't please everybody. Like, you're never going to be able to. And there's always going to be people out there who like don't like you or don't trust what you're trying. Like, fine, move on. I bet you'll come back to me because I'm really fucking good at what I do and I'm really knowledgeable. But I think that can be a huge part for you too, to just learn to manage those expectations.
Oh, seriously, I work on that so much with she's not a therapist. She's like an integrative trauma coach is her title or whatever. I just call her my therapist because it's easier. But she really helped me realize that I have high expectation, like unattainable expectations of myself and my clients. And it's, again, that fine line between being a loving and caring provider, but also setting a boundary. Like, look, I fucking said you need to eat X, Y, and Z, and you don't do it, and then you yell at me for acne. Like, you're not following my protocol, so I don't know why I'm in trouble right now, because I don't know how to guarantee, not that I can ever guarantee any type of outcome, because I'm not a magician with the human body. But there's also just these boundaries of, you want this answer so bad for me, I give it to you, and then you hear me say it, but then you like go to TikTok and you're like, but she said this. I'm like, then fucking listen to her or don't. Like, I'm just like up at night tweaking because you're mad at me,
I mean, I'm sure you deal with that a lot too, with having like an online business and an in-person business. Like, even though the online portion is a big part of your brand, how difficult is that to translate when you're not seeing them in person, or if you're only getting one side of the story? Obviously, like, people would benefit more if they were doing, okay, we'll do the virtual consultation, we'll do a hair test, we'll do whatever, we'll review your lab results, and then come in for a facial. How difficult is that when, like, do you have a difficult time getting people on board to do the whole thing with you? Or is it like, can you manage that part-time virtual, part-time in person? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I actually had a mentorship call with another esthetician, and she made me realize, I was like, I restructured my virtual program because learning lessons in business, it like did not work out the first way I was doing it because of the things that I believe in. Like, I don't think I can just give you a skincare routine off a one-off call and then be like, well, I hope it works. I just didn't see success in that, to be honest with you.
How could you? You're not getting the whole story.
Yeah, exactly. And so now it's like more personal. I have like a whole app that I run them through where they're learning about their bodies. But it's funny because I feel more confident behind the screen. Like, in person, if you were to be like, I didn't do it, I'd be like, oh, okay. But with a virtual over the phone, I'd be like texting them like, oh, you didn't do it? Okay.
Yeah, good luck healing.
Yeah. But I realized that I do have that, like, I love to hide behind the screen. I have more confidence there. So in person, I'm a little bit more timid, which is something that I'm working on, but I didn't realize that I was necessarily doing that. And also, I do think it's overwhelming at first to tell people like, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z, because they come to me thinking, well, I'm assuming this is what they're thinking. They're going to get a skincare routine and then be on their way. And I'm like, oh no, this investment, lab testing, investing in better quality food, investing in this, and also your fucking time, you know, or people that are having a really hard time mentally, whether they know it or not, but I can see that they are. And I'm like, I think you should reach out to my therapist or whatever. And there's like, no. And because it is a commitment of time and money. And so I kind of work with people where they're at, but I'm also, it feels like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place where I'm like, this is my protocol. If you're not willing to do it at this time, that's totally fine. I'm here when you're ready, but I can't like do stuff for free for you or to try and make this work if you don't want it bad enough, kind of thing.
I mean, that's the power of no, especially when starting a business. You have to learn like who's ready for it and not, and it's wasting your time and spinning your wheels if they're not willing to make those investments in themselves.
Yeah, which again, it's a lot about setting boundaries, because I hate the way that I feel, especially with acne. So I know how other people feel, but it's not my job to like give people free products or free services just because they don't want to. Maybe, you know, with a circumstance like, oh, your facial, like I had like a little irritation on my chin or something. I'm like, okay, come in for a quick like 10-minute free whatever. Like that's different. But I was out there being like, okay, I'll just give your whole skincare routine for because I'm just so freaking codependent. And I want people to like me and I want them to be happy and have their skin clear. But those people that I did that with are the ones that liked me the least because I'm just trying to
they're walking all over you.
Yep. And I was like, put on your Louis Vuittons and walk all over me, baby. You know?
That's so funny. Okay. What is the weirdest request that you have gotten from a skincare guest? I'm sure you've seen some weird shit. You can even take it back to the waxing days. I don't care. Like, I'm sure you've gotten some weird requests or weird things that have happened. As I know in the service industry, like I was a bartender, I was a waitress, like we got some weirdos through the door. I got some stories. I'm sure working with people's bodies and their questions they have, like I'm sure you've seen some weird stuff.
I'm thinking this didn't happen to me, but I'll tell the story. But just in general, no hate to men, but like men getting like facials and stuff. It's not their fault, I don't think, but like having their eyes open, staring at you while they're doing facials or like making conversation. Like one time I was giving a guy a facial and he's like, so are you single? And I'm like, this power dynamic of you paying me for a service I don't like it.
Yeah.
But one of my friends, when I was working with her, she was doing like an arm massage on a guy. And I don't know what he said, but he was basically like, so do you do, and this was in Rancho. Yeah. This was like in Rancho Santa Fe, like very luxury, like.
No, that place was so bougie. I walked through that place and I was like, I don't belong here. Everything's in French. What the fuck is this?
And obviously, like we don't do that here. And my friend, like, she was like, no. I was like, I would have walked out in the middle of that and been like, it's not worth the check. But what do you even say to that?
I know, dark romance side would have been like,
yeah. I don't know. Do you have a knife in your pocket? Yeah.
It's in one of the smut books you read. Maybe. Okay, yeah, it's kind of nuts. I figured that
like a really particular crazy story. I know a lot of estheticians have crazy fucking stories, but just like ones like that where it's like crossing the line of like
sexual assault.
Yeah. Tinkering on the line of
we're not tinkering, we're falling over the line.
No one wants to see your dick.
Dude, I can't even imagine women that have to give like Brazilian waxes to boys. Like
when I worked
a loincloth over it and you just let it fly around.
You like pick it up. Where do you put the dick? Where do you put the dick?
Ew. They do the little boy dance.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, God bless you guys.
Wait, give me a story.
Of what?
Of a crazy story when you have one?
For bartending?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So many. I mean, I also kind of like, I worked it. I was at a really hot bar in Columbus, so I would like wear dresses that showed my butt or showed my boobs.
Yeah,
but
you have to.
I'm trying to think something crazy that happened. I mean, a lot of it was like stuff with the staff. I will never forget this one time. This friend of mine, he's definitely an alcoholic, but we would be drinking at work or whatever, and he had to climb to the top shelf to grab booze. And I was like, are you sure you should, like, you really want to be up there? Like, we were like watching like video feedback of it too, like the next end security footage. And he's just up there like very disoriented. And he just flew down like on all fours, smacked up and popped right back up and plummeted. And everybody at the bar were like, we good? And I'm like, what the fuck's happening? With patrons, I've had like a drink tossed on me, like a girl like nonchalantly like knocked the drink over, and it was like very clear she was trying to hit me.
Yeah. It's so crazy that people just give zero fucks of other human beings.
Oh, I've had like owners of restaurants, like the owner, he was like, would hit on me, would come in with his wife in the morning and then bring in bimbos at night or like girlfriends, all sorts of shit. I mean, the service industry is the wild fucking west. Yeah. God, the people who work in there, I have nothing but like respect and like love for them and help them so much. Like Jack comes home every day from Obi Noodle House, just like, I can just tell him like, did you have a good day? You make lots of money. He's like, it's just not worth it at this point.
Yeah.
Like, working, everybody's on edge. The staff is antsy and angsty. It's a lot of drinking.
Yeah.
And you deal with assholes all the time.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I feel like when you're a service provider, the assholes feel entitled to act however they want just because they're paying you for a service or because you're in that position. And it's like, it's not how it works.
I feel like it should be a requirement. Like you cannot go to college or you cannot graduate college until, or like get a actual job until you work in retail, food service, or a service provider.
Yeah.
Like until you have to customer face with like people who are paying you for something, then like a service or whatever, like you cannot enter the real world.
I feel like this is being a service provider has been the biggest growth for me as a person, like learning how to say no to people and set boundaries. And like when people are an asshole and like asking for you to like touch their dick, like you're allowed to say no. Like it's okay if you lose that client, you know, but sometimes in businesses, it's like customer's always right. Say yes. And you're like, feel pressure to please people that are dicks.
No, and you should absolutely never feel pressure for that.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you about your personal journey and how it kind of got you to this point with this brand. You had mentioned a couple times, you know, at the beginning of our conversation about, you know, going to college and kind of getting lost in the sauce with boys, addiction, things like of that nature. And then, you know, after kind of figuring that out, you transitioned into this brand, into this wellness space. So can you kind of take us back and walk us through what was going on in that part of your life and kind of what that chapter looked like for you personally, if you're comfortable with it?
Yeah, I think that we were talking about this before, that I've never really talked too openly about like my addiction. Like I tell people now more that like I'm sober. I'm starting to tell people that. And usually I don't get more questions than that. People kind of assume it's just because I'm so healthy and I want clear skin. And it's like, no, I'll actually die if I drink and do drugs. And yeah, so from a young age, I've always been like very uncomfortable in my skin, like just very anxious. Even before things in my family happened, like my parents getting divorced and things that would cause trauma for someone, I've just always been very anxious. And I started drinking a little bit in high school, and just like the minute I would pick up alcohol, I wouldn't stop until I was throwing up, which made for very fun parties for my friends. And I didn't really drink much. My parents were strict in high school. So when I got to college, I was like, oh my God, no parents, no rules, like booze and boys. Yeah.
That happens to a lot of people.
And I think college is a place where everyone kind of acts heinous, and everyone was. I went to fucking Chico State, and everyone is in like,
I don't know much about Chico State.
Oh my God. It's a smaller school / town. It literally feels like a bubble. Like families live there. I don't know why, but it's mainly just like college kids everywhere, and everyone kind of knows each other. It's a little bit smaller.
Sounds like a lot of schools in Ohio.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a good school for education, I guess, maybe, I don't know, but everyone was just like fucking and doing drugs and drinking like all the time, like every day. And so I knew probably we drank more than people in real life, but I was like, whatever, we're in college, we're young, but it's the same shit. Like every time I would drink, I would get really bad panic attacks. I would
like the next morning or during the drink?
During, like I would have like crazy fucking episodes. Like God bless the people that were like near me in that era, because it definitely probably was scary to be around. Like I was just crazy, like all the anxiety, depression, like suicidal thoughts, just like were fucking out in the open a lot. And drinking kind of, I would black out, but it's not like my mind would never be muted. And I was just always chasing that. And even when I was first drinking, like the first like 10 minutes when you start drinking, you're like, oh my God, I'm like so sexy. Everyone wants to fuck me. And then, but I would always push it too far because I wanted more of that. And it was just like this false, chasing that high, this false reality of like confidence and feeling good. And then in college, I started taking Xanax. I don't even remember why I started taking them or how I got into that.
It's anti-anxiety, right? So that
but I don't think I got it from a doc. I honestly don't know, but I did start getting it from like a drug dealer in Chico, and that was the thing that clicked. I was like, holy shit, this feels so good, like better than drinking. Well, that plus drinking is like,
that was a big thing in Ohio State. I mean, a guy I was dating, and a lot of people like in the frat that I hung out with a lot, like that was their MO. Like, let's pop a quarter bar or half a bar and drink. And I'm like, what's the point? You're just blacking out.
Yeah.
But like people, that was all the rage at Ohio State too.
Well, people did coke, and I fucking hate uppers.
Well, if you're anxiety ridden already.
Yeah, like that's why it's like fast forward, like having issues with like addiction and quote unquote being a drug addict. But okay. And I'm like, no, drug addicts like coke, they shoot up meth, like they're homeless, you know, all these like just shitty things. But I was because I didn't like those. And I was too anxious to actually try like other drugs, which is why I'm like, I can't even believe I even did it in the first place. But yeah, it's like an anti-anxiety. So it's like, I have anxiety. It's fine. It's fine. It's like, okay, well, when you're taking like 3 school buses from Mexico and putting it in your wine and you're like alone in your room.
School buses from Mexico?
Yeah. You know, like the bars, the one.
Yeah, no, I know exactly.
I don't even know where people got them. That's where people get drugs.
Yeah. La Farmacia.
Yeah. Quick trip.
Yeah.
So I mean, I started taking those in school, and people would kind of be like, "Oh, be careful with that." And I'm like, "Oh no, it's like not that big of a deal." And I would go through waves where I would like take a lot of them for like a week or two, just like kind of daily to help with a hangover, or just like to help me go to sleep because I'd be really anxious when I got home. Like my head was spinning, it made me anxious, so I'd take them. And then I graduated college, and I mean, I was still doing the same shit. I was talking to someone the other day about like the grace period, like the 1-year grace period after college, where like you're still in
mine was like 4 years.
Yeah, you're still in like the habit of like drinking and doing drugs, but then there's like a point where it's like, okay, if you don't stop, it's like, what's the vibe?
When is this not cute anymore?
Yeah. So, and it was the pandemic, and so it was like I just moved to San Diego. I was drinking so much fucking beer, and I'd always be like, I didn't drink every day, like non-alcoholic, blah blah. And there was a point where I was drinking every day, but that's the thing, like I was in esthetician school and I was working all night, or I was working 2 jobs, and then I would drink every night. It's like
what, like a bottle, like a glass of wine, a bottle of wine, or like
like a bottle of wine. And then, well, I started getting into wine like a little bit later. Well, I was drinking beer, and then it was making me fat. So I was like, okay,
pork chop in every beer.
Yeah. Well, and the beer that I would drink, I'm like, I would only look at the highest percentage. I didn't care what it tastes like. I just wanted the highest percentage.
Okay.
And then I would start drinking vodka because I'm like, I'm getting fat. And so when people are like, you have issues with drinking, I'm like, no, I have an eating disorder. I just don't want to be fat. You know, I just want to drink vodka. But I would get like the handles and drink like half a handle like in a day, or I would just like blow through it. And I didn't think anything of it because I'm like, I'm fucking stressed.
And this is during the pandemic?
Yeah. Like kind of, I mean, the pandemic was like years. So it's kind of, through that time when I was going through school. And then I would take Xanax here and there. Like the guy that I went to school with moved to San Diego. And so I was like, okay, fuck, like give me the drugs, you know?
Yeah.
And again, it's just because I was so anxious. I didn't really think much of it. Or maybe I didn't want to stop. So I never was like, I tried to stop drinking and I can't, because I didn't try and stop. I just wanted to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, there was a time where I was like really reliant on taking Xanax. I would be so anxious if I didn't have like 5 just like at home, or like some in my bag. I would be like chewing some off like throughout the day at work. And then I would come home and just like slam more, and I would just like put them in my wine. And there was a point where they literally stopped working, and I thought I was like bipolar. So I went to the primary care, and they don't give a shit about you. And I was like, I think I'm bipolar. Mind you, like I was on fucking drugs. That's why I was having high highs and lows. He put me on like 300 milligrams of Seroquel, which is like an anti fucking.
I thought their answer.
Yeah. And so I was like on that, which made me feel even more fucked up, and not in a good way. And then I was like trying to wean off Xanax because I was like, okay, I'm kind of like taking a lot of these. And I literally started getting arm tremors.
I was just going to say, don't you have to wean yourself off Xanax?
I tried to, but I was so like anxious, like the withdrawals, I like couldn't even wean myself off. Like when I was trying to take like little less and less each day, like I couldn't. And I think the Seroquel did play a part in it. And yeah, I just had arm tremors. I was doing facials. I literally couldn't work. And that was like the day I had to go to my boss, and I was like, I kind of fucked up because the more Xanax I take, like the more shaky and anxious and like dizzy, like it wasn't working anymore. And that scared the shit out of me. Like my coping mechanism and my like safety blanket wasn't working. So I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to get through life without Xanax? And that's when I was kind of like, okay, oops, I might have like messed up a little.
So it's kind of like the aha realization moment?
No.
Oh.
I mean, that was the moment where I was like, okay, I took it a little too far this time. But I just like, I detoxed on my fucking bathroom floor for like a week. It was the worst. That's the reason, one of the reasons why I don't pick up, like what keeps me sober is because that was the worst fucking feeling detoxing. If I had to do that again, like I wouldn't.
How long did it take?
Probably like a week. But then I was of just like excruciating, like shaking. I couldn't eat. I was so fucking dizzy. I literally felt like I wasn't on earth. Like I was I couldn't work. And my boss the whole time was like, when can you come back? When can you come back? And I was just so anxious. I like was crawling places. So it was for like a week when I kicked it. My therapist at the time kept being like, you know, it just needs to get out of your system. And I was like, no, I feel like I'm going to be stuck like this forever. Like, this is all my anxiety that I've been like suppressing. And that's not when I got sober. I just was like, okay, I'll take a break off of like Xanax for a little bit, just because I'm like totally going to lose my job if I like keep doing drugs. And I stopped drinking for a little bit, because when I drink, I would want pills. And then I started smoking weed, because I was like, I literally need something, and smoking weed is so boring. I was like, how are people addicted to this? I'm so bored. And then the craziest thing is, I went to Vegas for my 24th birthday, I think, and I wasn't taking pills. I took a bunch of Adderall, because in my head I'm like, pill, so it'll make me feel
complete
like
opposite. But yeah,
complete opposite. I was on the fucking bathroom floor, like dry heaving. Like, I probably should have gone to the hospital. Like, felt so sick.
Were you in Vegas for like a fun event, like a bachelorette party, or
it was just for my birthday.
Oh, for your birthday?
It was me and like one other friend, and I just I have no limits. Like, I cannot stop something when I start, and it's all I think about. Like, we were at a fancy ass fucking dinner, and all I could think about was like, I need to go to the bathroom and like bite more off of this Adderall, which I don't even like. I had a really, really, really bad panic attack that night. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So we came back, and literally that weekend after, I met my boyfriend just like out in the wild. We went to the same gym, but we like ran into each other. Yeah, like by the bay. And he asked for my number and whatever. I tried to be like, leave me alone, you fucking pervert. And then I saw him at the gym the next day, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll give you my phone number. Like, oh my God, you're obsessed with me. And we hung out, and I had drank in a little bit before, like 2 shots. Didn't even do anything. So lame.
Before the gym?
No, before hanging out with him that night.
No judgment, but
yeah. No, well, that's the thing.
Like, able to work out on 2 shots.
Yeah, like I didn't like. That's why I was like, no, guys, I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have drug issues, because like
you're not doing it inappropriate time.
Yeah, but it did get inappropriate. But I was just like very heavily convinced, and that it was like wasn't an issue. And I met him, and not to expose him, but I'm going to expose him. So my partner doesn't drink. He's sober as well. And he was telling me how he's like super sober. Like, I was like, I'm kind of sober, just like smoking weed and like drink like once a month. Like, how much more sober can you be than that? And
California sober.
Yeah, no, seriously. And he's like, I was telling him like just stories that I thought was just like a regular Tuesday. And he was like, oh, you have like issues. I was like, no, you're being judgmental.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to, he's like, I have some women that you can connect with if you ever like want to talk to anyone. And I was like, no, I hate talking to people. And like, this is already like beyond my comfort level. Because I was so isolated. Like, I really only like just went to work. I couldn't handle anything in life. I'm pretty sure I would take like pills to go to the grocery store, because I just like the thought of people even looking my direction made me like not want to leave the house. And so I was like, no. And then finally he brought it up again. I was like, fine, like I'll meet your friend. So I met up with one of his girlfriends for like coffee, and we had coffee. And then after, she took me, I don't know if you know this, but she took me to a meeting like of AA, of Alcoholics Anonymous. So overwhelming. I hated it.
NA?
AA.
Okay.
And she took me to a meeting. It was so fucking overwhelming. I hated it. I was like crawling out of my goddamn skin. But the one thing I remember from that day is like, she had her head held high. She made eye contact with people. People were happy to see her. Like, people were just happy and interacting. And I was like, well, you're sober, so I know that you're not high.
Faking this.
And I just couldn't conceptualize like how someone can act like that in life without being intoxicated. I just had zero confidence. And she bought me a book that you go through, and she took me through like the 12-step program, and I worked the 12 steps, and like I just stayed. I don't know why. Like, I think by God's grace is like why I continuously like work the program, and like why I did, because every single day I was like, I can't believe you guys don't pregame before this. You share at meetings, there's like a podium, like you're asked to speak about your fucking deepest, darkest like traumas, I
mean, that's part of the healing, right?
It is.
And like, my dad struggled with addiction my whole life too, and he had moments like that too, where he was like, sometimes it put me in the right path, and sometimes it made me a better drug addict.
Yeah.
Like, it can go both ways. Was this woman your sponsor?
Yeah. So I didn't even realize that was happening until we got to like step 4, which you're like writing stuff down and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, wait, am I like working this? Am I like, what's happening? Right? Yeah. Am I in AA? Like, I'm not a drug addict. I'm trying to like reiterate that to you. But it's like, people do drugs and drink. It's kind of just like a general thing. I mean, there's like NA and all these other anonymous things, but it's this core is like a 12-step program. And so I don't think people know that about me. I don't offer that information to people, really. Not that, I mean, it's a part of me. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just kind of, it's a step beyond like, oh, I'm just sober, I don't drink.
Yeah.
And But yeah, I mean, it completely fucking changed my life. And it was really hard the first year and the second year. And I'm going into like, it's been like 2.5 years. And it's just like uninterrupted reality, you know, like I have to face every challenge and every discomfort just like head on. And it really taught me to have a relationship with God, and not like in a religious way. Like it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program, which we've talked about before, like your higher power, your universe. Yeah. And so now I'm really leaning into like learning what that looks like. Cause before I'd be like, okay, yeah, God, I'm praying. But now I'm like really learning to like create a relationship with something above me, that like something's always protecting me. Like my path is always being laid out in front of me. Like it's not my job to run my life or anyone else's. Like my job on earth is to like serve God and others and to be kind. And I'm just like a selfish bitch where I'm like, okay, God, like I have fucking acne. What's your plan with that? You know? But it's like I'm constantly having to humble myself and like continuously, even in my relationships, like I'm like working a fucking step where we get into a fight. I'm like, okay, I have to go write this down and call my sponsor and talk to other women and then come back and like read you my piece of paper. But the quality of life is so much better. It's just kind of like pick your heart, you know, like nothing's worse than being an active addiction, but also facing your fears like every day, like dead on, and just like having to run a business and set boundaries, like is very difficult for me. Or even like fucking doing laundry and dishes, like being an adult, honestly.
It sucks.
Like we all talk about it in the program. It's like when you get sober, like that's when you like are like reborn again. Like that's when you're becoming a fucking adult, because like all these years I was just like,
you were numbing yourself.
I was just existing. And now it's like finding a purpose and being useful to like others and get myself out of me. And it's helped a lot with my anxiety issues, knowing like, okay, shit's not going my way, but like I have to have faith that it's going to work out, or that God's got me, because that's like all I got. Like if I don't believe that that's there, like I have a hard time believing that I wouldn't be sober, because that anxiety, it's too much for me to bear, you know?
I'm just so impressed by you. I mean, this is such an incredible story. Like you're so brave, you're so honest, and I'm so thankful that you decided to open up. I know that wasn't easy. So
the debut on But Seriously.
And honestly, I do think that stories like this are so impactful. Even people who don't suffer from addiction, like there's a lesson to be had here, no matter what. And I think something that just really like spoke out to me, what you said, like if you're not making changes, then you're choosing that path. Like you're choosing that hardship. So if you're not choosing to make a change, like then you have to sit with those choices that you're making and those consequences, and that can disrupt your whole life, right? It can change how you appear to yourself, how you appear to others. It messes with your mental health. It messes with your physical health, your job, your relationships. Like those are really important things that can get pushed to the side if you're choosing to live the more difficult life or not waking up to what you need to do to heal.
Yeah. I mean, I was just living to exist. I was surviving, you know, I was just surviving, because I'm like, well, I don't want to kill myself. People seem happy. Like I should be happy, you know, but I also see now like what God is doing in my life to like speak to other people about it. And like, I think that we're all just put on earth to be helpful to each other. And that's what you said too, is like, just because I'm not in the depths of like addiction, active addiction, like I still have to go to therapy. I still have to do my prayers and my meditation and do things for me to fill up my cup, to make me feel good in order to like show up as my best self. Like I could just be like a dry drunk, you know, like I do see people like that their lives are fucking miserable, whether they're drinking or not. But it's like also that kind of like addicty mentality that I have, not even just with drugs and alcohol, like with everything. I'm very all or nothing with everything, with like shopping, food, like it's just all over the place. So I have to really like keep my head down and make sure I'm like doing the work. But I think that too, when people are around me and I'm like distant, it's kind of like, where are you? And like sometimes I think being like taking time for yourself can seem selfish in a negative way, but I think it's important that like sometimes you do just kind of need to like put your head down and like work on what you need to.
Would you say that was a really difficult part in your journey of sobriety, was kind of like the social aspect of it? And like, how did your relationships change with the people that were around you during those times where you weren't sober?
Well, towards the end, I was very like isolating, and
don't you kind of have to be in the program? Or
well, when I was like at the end of my addiction, like I was just isolating because I didn't want to talk to anyone. And like every time I drank, I fucking did something that was like heinous, that like no one really wanted to be around me anymore. And I was just kind of like, fine, you guys are going to be mad that I'm like doing this crazy shit. I'll just like drink in my room alone. Like that way no one can be mad. So some of the relationships kind of just fizzled out, and like I've made amends to people where I'm like, my bad. You didn't get the best version of me, but you know. And now I really only hang out with like sober people, and it's not just because it's just like I don't need to be in a bar, or like, I mean, I'm 26, so a lot of people are drinking and going on dates and like stuff like that. It's like I have a partner and I don't drink, and also it's just like it hits different being around people in recovery. Like, because I can see people like being reliant on God or like walking along the spiritual path where I can learn from that. And so that's why I want to be surrounded by currently. And also it's like I spend a lot of time and money on myself, like I said, like on my therapy or researching how to be healthy. And if other people aren't doing it, like that's fine. No shame in the game. But
yeah, everybody's
I can't like stay back if you just want to be where you're comfortable, because I'm always trying to like continuously be better for myself and the people around me. But I still get really bad social anxiety. So it's like, even if people are like, oh, you want to do like a yoga class? Like I try and go, but sometimes I'm like, I mean, a yoga class is like, that's kind of dramatic, but
no, I mean, I get it.
Like, I don't know, like
do it by yourself.
Come with me to like my work party or whatever. Like I still say no to a fair amount of things just because I know my comfort level. And it's like, I'm uncomfortable all the time. So it's like, I don't need to add that extra.
Add a trigger.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like I'm like, oh no, I'm going to want to drink if I'm uncomfortable. Like I'm kind of beyond that, where it's like the obsession and like the cravings are gone, but that's just like not serving me. You know,
you're going to give yourself anxiety and you're going to spiral. It's not even about wanting to crave something. It's about putting yourself in that state where you're
just like unnecessary for me. And unless you're like, hey, can you come with me and support me? It's like done. But if like, oh, it'll be fun. It's like, that's not my version of fun anymore. And yeah, I mean, my social fix I get when I go to like AA meetings like every day and like see my friends and like, okay, I'm good. You know, I filled up my cup, but social stuff is still really difficult for me because that was my biggest trigger and why I would like fucking balls to the walls, drink all the time at parties, at fucking like I said, go to the grocery store, like
your anxiety about your outward presence.
Yeah. But then the more that I build on myself and like trust myself again and build that confidence, like those things are less scary. But alcohol and drugs just really stood in the way of me, like being me.
Yeah.
You know, and like it stood in the way of my potential. And I definitely would not have a business today or continue to try and work on my business. Like alcohol kind of gave like the excuse of like, I give up.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just like not really how I want to live my life anymore. But I mean, I don't know, anything could happen, but I have to be on top of like I'm still an addict, whether I'm using or not.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to stay up on, it's kind of just like, if you have another, like, you know, if you break your leg and you have to do PT for 6 months, like
you still have to do PT.
You still have to kind of like do PT once a month. Like that's how it is with me and with like us in the program. Like that's how we stay sober, is you have to be in action always.
What's something that you wish people understood more about like sobriety to journey? Because I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions out there. People like, I don't know, I've had people like, don't drink in front of me or drink in front of me. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, what would you say socially or like with your relationships, like where you wish people had a little bit more understanding or knowledge about this journey for you?
I guess one of my best friend, Andy, it was so cute. One time she asked me if she should go to, so there's Al-Anon, where it's like people where if you're like close with someone who's an alcoholic, like that's their support group type of thing. Or she was like, what should I be doing to like support you? She's like literally a freaking angel. Yeah. And I think like
that's amazing. What a good friend. That's it's like just that's the bare minimum people. Like,
she's
that's
the most
all you need to do.
Perfect person in the world. Aww, it's kind of, and I told her, I was like, honestly, it's just like education, you know, like, and not in like a weird way, but just know it's like, even for me, like when people would take me to AA, they're like, oh, like of course everyone was really nice to me, but I was like, no, I don't have DUIs. I'm not homeless. Like I've always had, like I'm
not
fine.
Punching people in the face.
Yeah. Like I'm just like a little slutty, a little drunk. Like who's not? And so I think there's a misconception of like, and that's kind of, this is my truth, but there is part of like a societal thing where it's like, if you tell someone you struggle with addiction, there's like a kind of like step down that like people are like, oh, you know, or like, like when I'm with people, they'll be like, is it okay if I drink? Which is very like respectful in a way, but there's also like the other side where it's like, okay, you don't need to talk to me like I'm
like I'm an outpatient or something.
My friends don't do that, but I think that's a misconception where it's like, if I was going to be triggered,
I wouldn't be here.
Me personally, I wouldn't be here. And like, don't be weird. Like, drink around me.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to something where there's drinking, like,
I'm aware it's gonna be there.
Yeah. But I think also too, like, this misconception of like addicts or alcoholics that they're just shitty people. And I think everyone can be shitty. And I think in active addiction, you are especially selfish and in your own way. But like, recovering addicts are probably like the highest percentage of people on earth that just want to be better and do better for themselves and you. I mean, there's a whole fucking batch of people in recovery, but a majority of the people like learn that, you know, we're here to like serve God and it's not all about us. And like, we're just here to do our best and be good people. And like, we have like things to repent because we weren't always the best, but also it's like, we're not tied to like the shit that we did in our past. You know, like I also don't need to feel guilty for everything that I did because it's like, that wasn't even me. But I think just that misconception of like someone who's like an addict or alcohol, or also too at any given moment where if something bad happens, it's like,
are they triggered?
Yeah. Is she going to relapse? Which I think these are all fair things.
I think at the beginning people do that. Yeah. I mean, I know with my dad, we did that shit all the time. Yeah. Like it was, but he was also like one of those addicts that was like, and like at the time, and like one of those Catholics, Christians or whatever, that would be like, I asked for forgiveness, I'm fine. And then rinse and repeat and do the same shit over and over again. Yeah. That's part of recovery. I get it. There's gonna be relapses, but I think a lot of times people probably go to that way, especially if they've experienced addiction. They've seen somebody immediately regress. And it's like, well, they might not actually be on the path you think they are on. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Or that they're like, if you have relapse over and over again, or like you have such a pattern instilled in you, it's like, who's to say that like you being quote unquote, you know, you're trying to be a good person and all this stuff, like, are you really though? Yeah, like, we've seen you be such a piece of shit. Like, is this really you? And I don't think any of these are negative. I think that's just misconceptions that like, if you tell someone that you're like, you know, in recovery or something, there's just like a slight kind of shift in perspective of people. And I just think that's like of human nature. I mean, I did it. I still sometimes do it to people. I'm like, oh my God, you're like such a drug addict. And it's like, same.
I mean, it happens. We all can't be perfect 100% of the time. Like we judge. It happens.
I mean, it's just like
self-correcting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just how you judge anyone for anything. But I think those are kind of like the biggest things that I notice where people kind of feel like they need to tiptoe a little bit more, which can be true. Yeah. But also
set and setting.
Yeah.
It seems like though, like I know for me, for example, like wanting to start but seriously wanting to get into yoga, like a lot of my previous traumas and issues that I had, like I had kind of a similar, I never went to AA, but I definitely had a similar thing in college where I was just like fucking whoever, whenever, drinking all the time. I didn't give a shit about my grades. Like, and finding yoga and like these different practices really helped me self-regulate and kind of put me on this path. Do you find that this part of your, like this chapter in your life kind of paved the way for the look? Or do you think you would have gotten here regardless, but maybe not as intense with the gut healing and all of that holistic side of it?
Honestly, I think that a big part of me, like my sobriety, and that's why I should probably just like talk about it more. I think it is a big part of my business. Or when I see people like with their stressors or things that I just recognize like myself and other people, not in the sense where people come in and I'm like, oh, you're an addict, just like the same like anxieties and insecurities where it's like, I've worked through these. Like that's where I try and like give it back in my business where I'm like, oh shit, I actually like went through that. And like, this is what I did. Like, give it a go, you know, throw spaghetti at the wall. But I definitely don't think that I would be where I'd be at if any of that shit happened. And I also don't think, regardless of, I mean, also being sober, but continuously like working with therapists and doing all these things to continually like work on my boundaries and my mental health and knowing when to like stop working and stop obsessing about fucking your mental or your gut health and like actually just look inward, you know, because I think something in my business is I hyper obsess about what we were talking about before, like hyper obsessing about my gut, my liver and blah, 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 because I'm just trying to avoid me. Like I want to find the next skincare product, the next treatment, the next cleanse, because I don't want to do therapy and look at me and like face my demons. Like I don't want to, but that's what I'm doing currently with I'm just like, fuck it. You know, this is what I have to do. I think this is part of like the human experience is to navigate through our traumas and what we've done in the past. And kind of like what you said, it's all these things like yoga and meditation. Like I do think I learned more about myself, which continues to pave the way of where I'm going in life. But honestly, I'm just like in this space where I'm like, I don't even know where my business is going. Like I've kind of just, like I said, give it up to God. Like I can't plan my life even if I tried.
The only thing that's certain is that it's uncertain. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've really just tried to learn to give up this expectation of like, okay, like once I've done 6 months of therapy, then my boundaries are going to be set. And like, clients are going to be running through the door. And it's like, no, I need to just like work on my journey at my own pace and like see what falls after that. But it's definitely impacted where I am today and how I run my business.
I mean, I think it's so true. Like these pivotal milestones in our life, whether they're good or bad, like they're stepping stones into what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to be and who we're trying to become. I mean, without them, I mean, sometimes we wish we didn't go through some of the shit we went through. Like, obviously there might be a different way for us to get there, but at the same time, like it's helps us adapt and helps us get different perspectives and meet new people and all the things.
For sure. I think a lot of the things that I used to hate that happened to me, like now I'm like, oh, they happened for me and they shaped who I am today with like my family or growing up when I was younger. Like all the bullshit that I hate that I've gone through, like I would never change those because those are the parts that make me so like strong and resilient and creative and all these things. It's like funny. My therapist is like, all the pieces that you hate about yourself are like what make you great. And I'm like, shut up, bitch.
I know.
You know? I'm like, okay, you try. You have the day in my brain.
I love my therapist too. I'll always be like, I'll say something like it's so off the wall about like something I went through. And I'll be like, but you know, it's like not that big of a deal. And she's like, it sounds like it's a pretty fucking big deal.
Yeah. She's like, that's abuse. I'm like, no, that was just a Tuesday.
My therapist literally like, she got a tissue and like dabbed her eyes. I was like, am I making you cry?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, okay, reel it in.
Mine always cry. I'm like, okay, every tear is $50 off the session. Like, why are you crying?
No, my therapist is amazing. I adore her. She's the best. But like, she'll also like, if I'll catch myself too, and I'm talking about my trauma all day, but that's why I'm a fucking lunatic. And she's like, let's try softer language.
Yeah.
You're not a lunatic. Like, this is what you went through is crazy.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what this brand is. And I feel like you and I always do this too. Like, we laugh so much at our bullshit
sessions
that we've done.
Yeah.
Like, or that our people have done to us. Like, it's funny and scary. I think it literally alarms some people.
Yeah.
But like, what do you want me to do? Cry about it?
Yeah. I think that's why I love when we talk too, because we'll say the most fucking outrageous, heinous shit. And we'll be like, oh my God, me too. And it will be like,
I know.
It will be really bad. And we're like, oh my God, trauma bond. But it's like, and that's how it is like in AA too. Like someone will be like, I just got out of fucking jail and blah, blah. And we're like, yeah. Like, everyone's clapping. And it's just like, that's just the fucking way of life. Like you kind of need to like laugh about it and celebrate the wins. Cause like, what are you going to do? Like crying about it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know? And there is like,
and wallow in self-pity all the time. Like,
and like life isn't that
serious.
But seriously. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I will say it's so funny too. When I come home from my facial sometimes, and I'm like, oh, that's what me and Elle talked about today. And he's like, isn't this supposed to be relaxed? I'm like, I am relaxed. He's like, you guys are talking about like your smut bone, trauma.
I'll be telling Charles, I'm like, oh my God, Taylor came in. We were talking about the latest like bukkake in our books. And he's like, what the fuck? That's not very professional. I'm like, okay, who are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, it is though.
Me. Don't be professional with me.
It would actually be off. I would actually probably lose her as a guest if I wasn't outrageous.
No, you would never. Are you kidding me? Like you're the only reason.
If I was prime and proper, you'd be like,
I just like normally I will go into a facial or like a massage and like, don't talk to me. I come in here and I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to talk to her about.
And I don't mean to do that with people. Like I really want it to be like a relaxing space, but something hits about like that connection of
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think you do a good job too of where it's like when we get to like the relaxing time, but like still even then I'm sometimes I'm like, it's me more than you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, pivoting, we're at the part of our podcast where we air the dirty laundry. So this is meant to be silly, fun. I'll hit you with some fun questions, some ones that might like make you think a little bit, but just like don't take it that serious. If you don't have an answer, whatever, we're just trying to like have our listeners get to know you a little bit better and just you and me have some fun and get fucking closer.
Lay it on me.
Okay. What's a wellness trend to you right now that's total bullshit?
Oh my God. Okay. The shedding in the morning. I think I talked about it earlier. The morning shed where they have like fucking their collagen face mask. They have their chin strap on with their bonnets with their heatless curls. And then they have their castor oil packs on top of their red light, on top of their robe, on top. And I think that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. My guests will be like, is this how I get glowy skin? I'm like, who is sleeping in all that shit? Are they actually sleeping in that?
Oh, that's when they do the fake wake up.
Yeah. Like, I just rolled out of bed. I'm like, you have lashes on. Be fucking for real.
What's one skincare product that you need? Like, if you could only have one skincare product for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Retinol.
Oh my God, I'm really shocked you didn't say SPF. I'm like floored you didn't say SPF.
I know that probably should have been the right answer.
Absolutely Lord, no. Retinol's a great
I
one.
love retinol. It's going to help with the fine lines and wrinkles, stimulate some collagen. It's going to keep us youthful. Just keep your retinol and just stay inside for the rest of your life.
I accidentally did retinol before I got sugared. And I was absolutely fried on my eyebrows. My person was like, what the fuck did you do? I told you no retinol. I'm like, I don't remember.
Taylor would be like, oh my God, I use these eye patches that have retinol. I'm like, Taylor, you use retinol every night. She's like, what?
I can't read the ingredient list. I'm too busy. I'm just joking. Okay, if you could make a playlist, like if there's a playlist describing your life, what would be the title of the playlist and the most played song?
Oh my gosh, the title of it. This is hard.
I know, it's a thinker.
Okay, I don't know what the one song.
First thing that comes to your mind.
I don't know I'm thinking of like a YG song or something like nasty.
Something nasty, something like throwing ass.
Yeah, like throwing ass. I don't know what it would be called, but it'd be like throwing ass music and then like sex music, like R&B.
I love it. Okay.
My friends would always like make fun of me in like high school and like college, like we're like pre-gaming and it's like, and I'm gonna lick you up and down. And they're like, can you turn on like Nicki Minaj or something? I'm like, oh wait, I don't know. Were we not trying to get like turned on? Yeah. What are we pre-gaming for?
Are we not gonna get lap dance? What is your biggest ick if you're starting like a new relationship or friendship that makes you right away be like, I don't know about this person?
I don't know if this is an ick, but like if people aren't funny, like if I say something crazy, like, oh my God, yeah, like I'll be talking about how my clients, I'm like, they're complaining that they have acne and they took like 3 dicks the weekend before. And people will be like, oh. I'm like, okay, I'm obviously kidding. I know. So if people like, it's not like an ick, but I'm just like,
yeah, you're not part of this brand.
I'm like,
this isn't the business for you.
I know. I'm like, can you just like, what's the raunchiest thing? I always tell people, I'm like, what's like the dirty, like, what's your deepest, darkest, like, dirty secret? And they're like, what? I just have 2 cats. I'm like, ick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We don't like squares.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your biggest kink? You don't have to answer that.
She sent me the like, I'm not gonna ask some of these questions, and the questions are like, what's your favorite meal? What do you put in your water for health? What's your biggest kink?
I was just saying that to mess with you.
Knife play?
A knife? Dark romance?
I always tell Charles, I'm like, so should we get the knives? And he's like, no.
The kitchen knife?
Yeah, he's like, no. I'm like, but in my books.
Yeah, no, like anatomically it wouldn't work. In the books too, when they have like the gun scenes, I'm like, this wouldn't work.
Yeah, the gun scenes. I know what you're doing.
Yeah,
we don't need to say. If you know, you know.
Yeah. Okay, what is something that everybody universally loves but you secretly hate?
Oh, warm cookies with ice cream on it. Yeah.
Wow.
I was ready for that.
Yeah.
I don't like warm pastries with like cold, like brownies and vanilla.
That's wild.
I don't know what it is about it because I like them separately but not together. I don't know what the deal with that is.
What's
yours?
Mine? Forrest Gump.
Literally.
I know. I just like life's like a box of chocolates. I think Jenny's a big bitch. I'm just like, this movie's not that great.
Wait, no, okay. I think the part that I'm more confused about is who people universally love that?
Forrest Gump. I feel like everybody loves Forrest Gump. Do you not like Forrest Gump either?
I don't even think I've seen that.
I mean, like, it's a fine movie, but I'm just like, why are we so obsessed with this?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Some of my friends love it, and I'm like, I don't know how to tell you that.
Yeah, Taylor Swift's one for me. I'm trying to think what else. I wish I liked her though. Like, she seems like a nice gal.
I don't wish I liked her. I'm fine.
No, I just feel like she gets a lot of hate. Like, if people, like a lot of like unnecessary, like her getting booed at the Super Bowl because they just put the camera on her. Like, come on, Trump's there. Why are we like, relax?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like the camera just went to her and the stadium just like booed. So like, I don't like her music.
That's too much.
I think she seems a little. I don't know her, so like. Judging a book by its cover here, she seems a little insufferable. She's
too girly pop for my flavor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, to each their own. Whatever blows your skirt up. I'm not gonna get too numb. But like, yeah, not for me. Also, her music, absolutely not for me. Like, we'll go to the bar, drive in your car. Yeah. Like, no. Okay. What book are you reading right now, and how many chili peppers would you rate it on a spice level?
I looked it up before we did this and now I can't remember the name. It's like Savage Hate, or I don't know. You'll have to link it in the show notes.
Savage Hate.
Or I can't remember what it's called, but basically there's 3 brothers.
Of course. When is there not?
I'm in this phase where I like love books with like 3 brothers and 1 girl.
Or then when you talk about it, you're like, I swear I don't like incest, but it's really not in my book.
No, but they're not doing things to each other.
It's why choose.
Yeah. What's the book that you told me about?
Den of Vipers.
Yeah, that one's good. I just love the idea that there's 4 men that are absolutely obsessed with this girl and they'll kill everyone for the safety of her.
Of course, yes.
I mean, I'm an addict, more of everything. So like 3 men in love with you, I love it. But there's a series of 4, the one that I'm reading, and it's good. It's honestly, they're all the same books. I could just tell you that title. It's all the same books.
Same formula every single time. It's like stalks, obsesses. She's a virgin for some reason.
Yeah, she's always a virgin, and then she's like, "Give me all 4 of your dicks and all my holes." I'm like, "Okay, like, you're not a virgin." You deep throat right away,
ma'am.
Why are you deep throating on the first date?
I know, and you like getting spanked and tied up. Like my virginity would be, I would be screaming.
Like, try condoms. Virgins use condoms.
Yeah, I didn't. My virginity story. My boyfriend like was not willing to have sex with me. Like he was very religious, and I was like we need to wait till marriage. And I was like, give it up. I don't know if I should say that.
Or in the butt seriously, or the airing the dirty laundry.
That's dirty laundry too. And he we would always fool around, and like he would brag about me sucking his dick and stuff. So I was like, I know you want this. Like we're so close. We're like getting close to the hole every time, but you're never entering.
Well, that's what I don't get it. Like if you're sucking dick, like just have sex. You're already like,
what do you want to stick in my asshole? God's hole? I don't know. Like one day he came over from after baseball practice. My mom works, mind you, and his mom worked. So like we weren't allowed to hang out after school, but we were fucking neighbors. So he was over all the time.
Yeah.
We were always hooking up. And he got in the shower after practice for some reason. And I just like hopped in.
And Taylor's here, baby.
And I just sort of like bent over and shimmied my way to it. And he was like, I'm not losing my virginity doggy style in the shower. And I'm like, well, then what are we doing? And he's like, let's just go. Fine, we'll have sex. And we went over to my bed, and it lasted a glorious 15 seconds. And that's it.
Shout out to you, sir.
He hates me now. I don't really like him either, but
it's okay. All my exes hate me.
Oh my God. If you could eliminate one ex, would you? Like, is there a person in a relationship that you would ixnay and be like, I wish I never met you or dated you?
Eliminate, like kill them?
No, just like erase them from No, we're not in a romance.
I have the cops show up on my door like, hey, we're at this podcast. Like,
no. Eliminate them from your roster. Like, erase them from your story.
Honestly, no, because I think that I learned, again, going back to I learned so much. Like my first boyfriend that I dated, God bless him, sweetest little boy.
Mine was sweet too until he hooked up with my best friend.
Oh, no. Mine was so sweet. And then he thinks I cheated on him. I'm going to send him this and be like, boo, I didn't cheat on you. There's a difference between being slutty after you break up with someone and cheating on them. I was loyal, but I was slutty 5 seconds after.
Yeah. Okay.
No, he dumped me and then okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
whatever.
Sorry, mom. He was so sweet. That was a really good relationship. We were 18, so it was kind of fake. And then my second one, I don't even know if we dated because we were so off and on again. And that was the most chaotic, daddy issue driven relationship. Yeah. And I learned so much from that though. I used to think he was the shittiest person in the world. And then when I kind of got sober and started reflecting on me, I was like, oh, I was equally awful in that. And so I wouldn't change it because I'm over them now. But for a while, it's oh my God, fuck those guys. But I'm I was just as shitty. But
I feel the same way. Even my situationships throughout college where I was just dating these men. One of them actually had a Xanax addiction as well. And we were never boyfriend, girlfriend.
She points at me you.
Sorry. I just remember being he just struggled so much with that too. Yeah. And he also had 2 other girls that we were dating at the same time. We were always in competition with each other.
Yeah.
And even though these guys were just unavailable and struggling on their own with their own things, I was very aware that they were struggling with. I still really wanted to make it work, but learned.
But that's the thing. I'm
a better partner.
You play a part in that. When I would hear stuff about him or he would blah blah blah. I would still engage in it. I could have totally walked away and I just didn't want it. I love the chaos or
no, you were I was being self-destructive.
Yeah, just with so many guys. Oh my God! Again, I'm really so sorry to all the fraternity that I.
Oh my God! I was a frat mattress.
They love. Yeah.
I was almost voted as a sweetheart, and I was not in a sorority because I literally was
They definitely,
Sorry, Mom, Dad.
they didn't like me enough to
Listening?
even, no, it was,
I
was
don't think they liked me either. I think they were trolling the one guy that,
yeah.
the two guys
No, I think it was like all
really
just like a big prank. There was one time where these two guys, I think I was hooking up with them at the same time. They were texting me the same shit at the same time, like, hey, and me being drunk. And I was like, oh my God, they're like so fucking obsessed with me. They want it so bad. And I didn't realize that they were fucking with me. And both of them at the same time said like, hey, can I come over? And I said yes to one and no to the other. And then both of them were like, we're pranking you, fucking slut. I'm like, okay, so.
Okay, that's me.
I was like, okay, who's coming over?
Yeah, okay, am I getting fucked or
yeah, they were nasty, but so was I. Oh my God. My sponsor, she's like, my son's in college. She's like, I wonder who the Ellie is of his frat. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, rude. There is none.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like, oh my God. So bad. And I was in love with like these two guys in this frat. And like if they were being mean to me on a night out, I would literally like yell out the bar, which one of you's in Teague? Like who wants to fuck? She's just like trying to get them back. And I'm like, do you think this makes you look good?
Being in college is the most heinous thing in the world.
So bad
like looking back, I'm like, girl,
and also,
do you just need a hug?
Yeah.
And condoms? What's your problem?
And it's just somebody to tell you they love you and it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. No.
Looking back on my college years, I'm like, I wish I could just like give myself just like a little bit of advice. Just a
little.
I love you, honey.
You're loved. We love you. Keep doing you because it's gonna build you up for later.
Yeah.
This is building character, but like, ouch.
Put a condom on.
Yeah. Just put a fucking condom on. Close your legs. 5 minutes. No, but
I don't need to fuck every single night you go out.
I would. Like, well, why else would you go out?
No, we'd be like, oh, we're going out on a Monday. I'm so horny. And then, also, buy a vibrator. It'll change your world. You will never think about a man again.
I know. Imagine actually coming. And then I met Charles, and he was like, "Was that good for you?" I'm like, "Wait,
you care?"
I know. I was like, "Wait, you can come while having sex?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
no. Or
boys could never.
I remember with Jack too. I'd be like, "Sorry, Heeman family, if you're listening." I'd be like, "You don't have to keep going." And he's like, "We're not." What do you mean? I'm not entering you until you're finishing. And I was like, this is incredible. Is this what it's like to be loved?
Yeah. Is this love?
I know. I was stigmatized and you're nice. Like, are you kidding me?
It's crazy.
Game over for me. I never thought I'd be in a relationship for 9 years. Like coming off of what I was like in college, I was like, there's no fucking way.
Well, I went through a phase where I was like, I don't like men. I'm not sexually attracted to them. And then, I met Charles and I was like, oh, wait, okay, fine. Like, this is fine, I guess. Like,
I really want to meet Charles.
They just repulsed me so much where I was like, I'm not into this.
All men repulse me.
I just wasn't, I'm like, not even in a like fuck men way, but I was like, actually, like, there was a point where I was like, I'm not attracted to men. Like, you guys ruined it.
Well, I
ruined it and we ruined it together.
Women are more fun. Women are hotter. I get it. What was I about to say about men? I had something to say, but I totally forgot it.
Good.
Yeah.
Who even fucking cares?
So mean. I mean, they're all, not all men, but all men.
Yeah. Like 99.9%.
Yeah. And we're lucky. We have some good ones, but even still, he still disgusts me.
Yeah. They're still really disgusting, but it's fine.
Living with a boy is the worst.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Actually, Charles is cleaner than me.
That must be nice.
For me, not for him.
Before you came here, because it smelled like his farts for like 30 minutes. It was horrible. Yeah, the incense was burning like crazy when you came in.
Oh, that was refreshing.
This has been so much fun. I am really so glad I got to do this with you.
No, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. And before we sign off, tell everybody where to sign up for your app, where they can book your facials, all the things.
Yeah, plug really quick. My Instagram is at The Look Skin and Wellness, and my business website is thelookskinandwellness.com.
And I will make sure I post the shit out of it. And if you're in San Diego, I can't recommend it enough. Go get touched by Elle. She's incredible. She has the best tools, the glacial. She has the best skincare lines, and you will leave glowy, dewy, and laughing.
And a little horny.
And horny. All right. Thank you, honey. Love you.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, you silly goosies. Thank you so much for tuning in to But Seriously. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at butseriously.pod and check out our website for upcoming events and exclusive merch. You can find all the links in our YouTube video description or on our Instagram page. See you next time.